All right, so we're looking at a conundrum. We're looking at what is it? We're looking at a winter that's way too long. We're looking at what do you do when you're stuck inside a house and you're looking out and there's snow all over your fields? Well, there are some things that you can do. So what I want to do is welcome everybody to Archaeology 101, 102, 102, 101, because I want you to be fluid. I want you to go back and forth from those two channels. I have two videographers. One works very hard with one channel, one works with the other, but I hope that you'll enjoy both and you'll give us feedback so we can serve you better. So what I wanted to do is this. Rather than focusing on the artifact and showing you a whole bunch of nice axes and Hopewell weeping eyes and Flint Ridge Hopewell points, I want to look at where do you go when you need help? Because you guys, I hear from you all the time. Who can I ask? Where do I go? So I'm going to spend a little bit of time and talk about building your library. I've kind of hinted at this from time to time, but I've never really made the connections. At least I don't feel like I've made really good connections with you. Some of these are sort of out of print, and you might be able to pick them up off of Amazon. You know, there's kind of a scary price on a few of these, but if you keep looking and put it out there, I think there was a time on, it might have been eBay, where I saw a book and they wanted $220 or something like that. I ended up getting it for $65, but you just got to let your needs be known. So let's start here. Let's look at this giant conundrum. And during the winter, I really clean things off. I look, this is where I try to figure things out. What is this? What is that? And we looked at a lot of stuff. We looked at broken hardstone tools. We looked at broken slate tools. We looked at broken slate that's partially drilled. We're looking at blanks. We're looking at what are these big old dudes that we don't like to carry out of the field? We're looking at these cup stones. All of these, what is it? Well, winter is the time that you sit down, clean things off, get a cup of coffee out, call a buddy, come on over, let's just see what we got. So what I'm going to do is give you my heart recommendation to you. If you're from Ohio or surrounding area of Ohio, this is the book that I recommend. And you can let your Santa Claus know or Tooth Fairy or somebody know about this book. If you're from another state, then you want to connect with this, the Central States Archaeological Journal. And I'm just going to take a second and kind of get off of Ohio for a minute, because I know a bunch of you live out of state, and I just got a great email from a gal way up in northern Canada. I'm like, are you kidding me? But thanks, and I love it. It's so much fun here from everybody. But listen to some of the states I'm going to mention here. Basically the northeastern part of the United States: Mississippi, Kentucky, Illinois, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa. Now some of these I'm going to repeat. Kansas. We had somebody from Kansas that came to our workshop. Minnesota. Oh my gosh. Mississippi, Texas, and it just goes on. These are states that actually have like a director for this society that live in that state. And when you get their magazine, you get their names, their addresses, and their phone numbers. So if you're sitting in Kansas City, Missouri, right now, or St. Louis, and you're going, woe is me, I don't know where I can get help, you can call your director. Say, listen, I live in St. Louis. Are there meetings I can go to, people I can meet, or is there a book on artifacts from our state? So I'm all about trying to get you connected. Now, what you don't know is that I bought a cardboard box with 150 of these journals for $75. And for me, it was a steal, because each one of these is just a tour de France back through time. And these are good winter reading material. Coming back to Bob's book, it's wonderful. And it just, it's basically like any other book with the acknowledgments, the forward, why he wrote it, what it's about. He tries to put a time sequence together, but he goes through all the tools. And this one in particular, oh my gosh, I can't. If you guys knew how many of you are saying, hey, I found this thing. It's kind of flat on one side. It's got a hump on the other side, a little bit of a concavity. Right here, you can read about it in Bob's books. You can see pictures and my notes. And you can start putting some things together. Get your stuff out and look at it. Now, it would be nice if everything looked like this. But you've been walking long enough, or at least I have, to know that this is not the case. Let me give you an example. What's this, gang? It's highly polished. But look here. Highly polished. Lateral polish. But the other end, look right here. Evidence of hammerstone. Evidence of hammerstone. This is evidence of a mega phenomenal celt or another hard stone tool. Evolution, the thing evolves, it breaks, they keep using it. This will help you. If you can see what this looked like when it was whole, then you can see what it looks like when it's like this. You can start making connections. If I saw this in the field, I say, okay, well, look there. They scratched and they dinged it. But if I pick him up and look at him, what in the world is this? I've never seen anything like this in my life. It's a 3/4 groove that goes all around. That's given me a time period now, Middle Archaic, Late Archaic. And then I'm looking at the dimples on both sides. What is it? Well, you'll learn how to use your your upper ridge, take it to one of the poles, and you see that it's possible you have a very severely broken axe that was picked up and reclaimed and moved into something else, which is a hammer. Laying in a field, would you have picked this up? Or is this laying in your box, your cigar box or your coffee can? Would you know what you got? Would you believe this is a lug off of an Adena pot? And here's where it was glued onto the pot. This is the exterior part of the knob. Wow, hugely polished. What is it? And I see your pictures that you send to me all the time. I love it. Keep sending them. This is a highly polished glacial till rock. That's what it is. It's a geofact, not an artifact. And you got to pop them. You got to poke them out of the ground, take them home, wash them, look at them. And trust me, your rock garden is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. If it's not, you're not doing your work. Okay, and then I'm going to cruise real quick through here. Broken, most of these are broken, reworked tools. A few of them are whole. But the bottom line is, where can I get help? You can get help from something like this. This is pretty much the one we use in Ohio. There are a few others, but this is the number one. Both journals will fix you up because you have amateurs, you have field walkers like you and me, and you have academics that write articles for both of these professional journals. These will help you. This is good winter reading material. And I kind of have this set up like a smorgasbord. We're going down, picking out all the yummies as we go down the line. You guys, I'm so sorry you have to put up with me. But steatite, man, this is exciting stuff. But you people that live in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, a little bit of Florida, a tiny bit of Pennsylvania, but the heart of this stuff is coming out of Virginia, North Carolina, that area. And here's a book. This is the only book I know of that's even written and even talks about steatite. Rodney is one of the chair people for the Central States Archaeological Journal. He lives, I believe, in Virginia, I think. And but let me just show you look at this. A steatite bowl. Did you ever wonder where these steatite bowls came from? They had outcroppings. And the prehistoric people simply chopped away the steatite until you had basically this little pimple sitting there. And then they would cut it off. And so that's your preform. Turn it over, and then they would dig them out. So basically, you've got something stuck. They remove it, turn it over, dig it out. Except these are probably 4 to 6, 8 inch diameters like that. This little guy came off of my dig site down in Coshocton County. Okay. And in here is what you and I tend to find. Now, you may not be finding steatite, but the condition is just broken and pulverized. We're all used to this. But you can still get an idea what you're dealing with if you've got a book to help you that you can work with. Now, I brought this one, and I'm going to have my videographer zoom in on the details on how you can order this book. He's a neat guy. He's very helpful. You can talk to him on the phone. He'll tell you other people that live on the East Coast that can help you. Please check into some of this stuff. Okay, most of this is Tuscarawas River in Coshocton County. Both of these pieces of steatite were up near the rim of a different type of steatite bowl. Is Ohio River. This is Ohio River. And this is the village site along the Tuscarawas River. Steatite quickly feels waxy. It has gray, but if you scratch it, your fingernails can just cut it right in half. It's just so soft. Oftentimes called soapstone. It's all about the book. I want you to get stuff, build your library, things that you can work on during the winter. Wash them up, bring your conundrums to your library and see what you can find out. I like Slate. And one of the neat things about where I live in Ohio is that we're right in the glacial moraines. If you can visualize kind of a geologic rippled effect of different time periods where these moraines were laid in the glaciers and the ice went up and down, up and down. And then you have these ripples left. My experience is when you figure this out, they're going to have slate. They all have slate. It was like Highway 66, man. Everybody wants to travel it. And you get artifacts. But again, I purposely did not bring in whole pieces of any of this stuff because this is what we find. And this is usually the basic condition that we get it, which says, what is it? Where do I go from help? Who's got an idea? And some of these have etchings and drawings on them. Some of them have tally marks. What are tally marks? What is a Hopewell weeping eye? This is where these books will help you. In Ohio, Bob once again has another book, Ohio Slate Types. I'm going to open it here. Give me a second to show you how it's laid out. And in particular, you're going to see bannerstones. You're going to see gorgets, pendants. Get back here a little bit further. You're going to see all kinds of stuff that you've never seen before. And that's fine. But what do you do when you find a corner? Or what do you do when you find the two holes? And this is usually what we find. And that's why a book like this, when you can see whole pieces, can give you a direction with the piece that you've picked up in the field. So the book is wonderful. It's just a lot of black and whites, but the stuff is still out there. What do you do? I have two, what do you call them, knobs, ears, from this particular Bannerstone that I found. I was clueless until I got this book, and it helped me out. So I get no commission from these books, but my heart says I want you to have a solid 8, 10, 15 books that you can go to plug you in with wherever you live. Now, here's another book that you're going to, or a similar type book that you might be faced or have the opportunity to buy. It could be in Indiana. It could be in Southern Illinois. It could be in Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. And what you've got is a book that pictures a collection, one collection from one man. Give an example. This was put together by Bob Converse, but it's a doctor by the name of Muser. And this guy collected around turn of the century into the mid-50s until he passed. But what you're looking at is stuff from his collection. But again, just like you, just like me, we have our favorites. So you're going to see things from his collection. But this is what you do with your candle coal. Do you guys know what candle coal is? Have you found it? So your winter months, this is where you bring your broken pieces, you look through it and see how they fit in. And then you can go back to this book and you can get the history. You can find out about your piece, how old it is, how common it is, what it's usually made out of, and if it's rare. I'll give you an example. I was just at one of the state meetings for our society in Ohio, and I saw a celt, but it was made out of slate, and it was nicely polished. I'm like, I've found hundreds of celts, but nothing like this, nothing like a slate celt. So it was for sale. I know the guy, and I know the history of the piece, and I ended up getting a double-ended bit celt. Rare, 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 beautifully polished, nice celt. Slate. How unique or how rare is that? Well, you have things that you can go through. I'm not seeing it. And Bob tells you straight up, I just don't see that type of piece in people's collections. Doesn't mean it's not out there, but it's scarce. And it helps you get an appreciation more for your artifacts coming down the pike. This would be, every one of you, a field walker, should have something like this. And this will help you for the central U.S. area. I think these are great. And here's one that you will have to visit Fort Knox. But I bought it when it was first published. David Lutz, I believe, is from the Indiana area. And he pretty much, I think everybody agrees, this is the holy grail of Bannerstones. I'm going to open it up and show it to you. Just again, to get an idea of what he's got. He's got all kinds of Bannerstones, any kind of Bannerstone that was ever invented, thought about, dreamed of, or on the drawing board that the prehistoric people had. And then he's got some similar related material. Why is it good? Remember, you'll be finding pieces. And with books like this, you've got the winner to go through them. And he also has some of the beautiful jeweled material Bannerstones. And these, he spent the money, put them in color because they're so unique. Indiana is one of the prime target areas where these things are coming from. I've seen some coming out of the south. I found a broken wing of one in my county. I had no clue what it was, and nobody could help me. But they're out there. They're out there. When nobody's there to drink coffee with you and you're all alone, here's the book that you want to grab. And then, here we are once again. What do I buy? They had what was called a silent auction at this thing. And I saw these two books and I'm like, oh no, how do I start low and end up getting them? And I'll show you what they are. Basically, Bob passed away a few years ago, and he really is the father of Ohio archaeology. Not because he knew it all, but he took the time to explain it and make it readable and understandable for all of us. So these two books, this one and this one, were on the silent auction. I got one for $45. I got one for $55, and the starting sale price is $100 for both of them. And I'll show you quickly what we have here. These are pictures, notes from Bob's own collection, and most of these are from Ohio. And it is so exciting to get an idea of the actual sizes of these pieces that were once found in Ohio. Bob's preference that he loved was Flint Ridge flint. And so how is a book like this helpful? Well, for which number, there's a myriad of reasons why it's helpful. One is to see the wide range of styles of Flint Ridge points, okay? And not only the wide range, but the time periods from archaic to late archaic to middle woodland, late woodland. And so you get an idea to see the full extent, the range of the time periods that use Flint Ridge flint. A little bit coming out of paleo, not much, which is a great question. If the paleo people found Flint Ridge flint, and if it's such a beautiful flint, why did they not use it? Why did they levitate toward Coshocton flint? These are questions that you can deal with during the winter months. And again, Bob just has... I don't want you to get a heart attack when you look at these books, but the point is, I'm not trying to sell you on what Bob had. I'm trying to connect you with stuff. Now, what's neat about this, when this went up for auction, you can get an idea about the piece, how it was auctioned, where it went, where this stuff is. You can find pictures of it, pictures of Bob and his career, his life with archaeology. And this goes into everything from the pipes, the stone tools, where in particular, this one just happens to be some of the flint. And there's more, and I can't wait to get more. But here's his Bible. This is the one that opened up the entire world of field archaeology to you, to me, to our nephew, our nieces, grandkids, because in this book, every style, every culture that you're going to find in Ohio is pictured. They're all pictured in here. And just to see the quality or how it's labeled and how it's laid out, I know it's upside down, but I got to be able to see it to show it to you. Fort Ancient down in southern Ohio, compare that to the late woodland up north, which is a triangle without the serrated or the scalloped edges. Southern Ohio, northern Ohio. Southern, northern. Same time. I love it. Now look at this. Notice the material. Okay, northern, southern Ohio. These are a lot of the cherts that are found down around Paint Creek, the Miami River, Ohio River. Tremendous civilizations, but where is the Flint Ridge flint? So I'm going to drop this one on you. With the rest of the winter, I want to hear back from you. Flint Ridge, I've been there. I've been on the ridge, and the flint pits are everywhere. I know one man in particular that digs it with a backhoe and even bought some of the land, on especially the Nethers farm, where he can get an unlimited supply of this stuff. But working with him and seeing what's there, I know that there was eons of Flint Ridge flint left. Why did they quit mining it? What happened? Did the culture just prosper so much and they got so comfortable with wealth? If you look at the Hopewell Dena, you'll find things in their mounds that are unbelievable, from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from the South Coast. They had to trade to get those, but they're in the mounds. What happened? So when you look at the Flint Ridge, and this is just an exercise that you can do, again, I tried to stay away from whole pieces. Just wanted you to see some of the range of colors. You're going to find them. You're going to find broken stuff, and you got to have a place to go to put these things together. And so these are books that you can have fun, you can leaf through and get an idea. What you're going to see is that Flint Ridge appeared all at once, pretty much in the Archaic time period, maybe middle, later Archaic. And then it was really just, oh my gosh, the middle woodland, the early Adena, middle Adena, Hopewell, whatever. And then all of a sudden, Flint Ridge disappeared. It's not being used. Hardly at all in the state of Ohio. You can go to any late woodland village site, campsites, anywhere on any river system, and look at the last groups that were here. Where is the Flint Ridge? These are good questions. These are critical thinking skills that you need to develop and bring these forward to people who are committed to serving you and helping you. Here's one. I'm going to put it in your egg basket. And you can look this up on the internet. Volcanic action going on in the South Pacific right around 555 AD, which is the demise of the Hopewell culture. Huge volcanic eruptions. Now, if they were a semi-sedentary society and you had perpetual cloud cover, which the Chinese recorded in their ancient scrolls and their writings, was that there was much time where the sun didn't shine and there's no plants. How are you going to support a major mega society? How would you support your city if we went 2, 3, 4 years with no sun? People are going to get stressed. They're going to move out. The cities are going to dissipate, and people are going to move back into the country, at least those that survived. So I simply propose that volcanic eruption of those 1-2 volcanoes that were involved had a worldwide effect. Take a peek at the South American, Central American societies that suddenly disappeared. What happened? Something flipped them from their agricultural community to where'd they go? So I think Flint Ridge is a good clue If you follow your clues, they'll lead you to some great conclusions. Now, we can't say for sure this is this or that is that, but I'm on enough hot sites that are late woodland and not finding Flint Ridge that are close to Flint Ridge. What is going on? If you are fearful for your life, you're going to stick with your group. You're not going to go down the road 25 miles where people are eating people to survive, trust me. You're going to stick right where you're at. Now, they have a name for human droppings that they find out in the Southwest. And I think it's pretty common knowledge now that they're finding a lot of human droppings throughout that area. And they're kind of putting that together with the drought, all these things happening, people turning on people. And so people dispersed and moved out. More and more information is coming out. And there'll be things that we share from time to time that you disagree with, and that's good. And things that you're going to question, and that's fine. But it's all leading to you getting on the internet, building your library. And today I'm just going to walk backwards through the library. When you can find books on people's collections, and they were people that were good collectors, it is worthwhile to pick them up. Bob majored on Ohio artifacts. And so what a joy it is to look at stuff that people were picking up in the 1800s, early 1900s in the state of Ohio. Here's our Bible. Everything you need to know, want to know, and should know about field archaeology and the arrowheads, the things that we find in Ohio right here. Moving down the line, Slate. I think there's a kind of a universal fascination with Slate. I can tell you for one whole piece that I find, I probably have 50 to 75 broken pieces. And I mean shattered pieces, little tiny pieces, bits. That was a song in the 60s, Bits and Pieces. Anyway, and then you find clues on Slate, like, what is this? What happened here? These are telling you a story. They scored it and then they snapped it. And taking this concept of scoring it, snapping it, I find that most of these are not field breaks, but these are prehistoric breaks where they sawed them and snapped them. Wow, I figured that out on my own by taking my time during the winter, looking in books, using my hand lens, and coming up with some great ideas, conclusions. Coming down, Steatite. I want to introduce this to you. I want you to get excited about it. If you're anywhere near the Ohio River or the mega rivers where they join it, I'm telling you, it's in the area. And you want to get familiar with this. It's a great piece. Now, what I don't have here, but have at home, is steatite that looks like Fruit Loops with holes in it. And you guys down south, even on the East Coast, you're calling them boiling stones, where this stuff holds heat like crazy. And if you heat them up hot in a fire, put them in a leather bag, and you can actually bring that leather bag water almost to a boil. Boiling stones in and out. I like that idea. Nobody says it's gospel, but it makes a lot of sense. And this is the value of having a consortium, a group, people that you can get together and kick around some ideas. But you got to have a good library, some places, some things that you can go to. I've talked to Rodney on the phone. He's just like you. He started out field walking, loves archaeology, and he's got a lot to share. This is a treasure for all of you East Coasters. And his book is dealing with the outcropping, where they're coming from, the bowls, not so much on the individual little tiny pieces, the pendants or the corgets or the boat stones or some of those things. He's more or less looking at bowls. On my site, almost everything are fragments of bowls. Slipping on down, and probably where we're going to wrap her up is with stone tools. And I love stone tools because I can find stone tools. And I especially get excited about Bob's book with celts. I love celts. I find a lot of celts, and a lot of my celts are like this. Remember, color, shape, size, and texture. And I've talked to you about that. And if you can get texture in your head and not be afraid to pop stones out of the ground, your collection is going to jump, and you're going to start finding things. And I had mentioned Slate. And Bob will say several times that they're unique. So if you have a slate silt, hang on to it. And the other thing that I find a lot of, and I like it, and you're going to get tired of seeing these when I bring my collection to you and show it, are the hammerstones. They had to nap that flint somehow. But to see the wide range of material that was used, a lot of you guys are just walking right over these. A lot of you guys are walking right past these quartz hammerstones. You just think they're rocks, but you got to learn and look at the surfaces. Look what impact fractures look like on quartz, on flint, on granite, on slate. And that's why this book is so helpful and why I encourage you to get it and grow with it. You've heard me say color, shape, size, color. This is just in Ohio, a stone that you've got to pop. I don't care where you live. When you see the color, you got to flip it. And if you're on a glacial moraine in Ohio, these are primary picks, okay? Just some of the helpfulness of this and the conundrums of what is it that we find. And man, we find a lot. Who would know what this is? The person that was with me said, oh, gosh, I wish they would have finished it. And I said, maybe they did. What do you mean? Well, it's highly polished right here on the lateral sides. And I'm looking at the impact fractures right here. There's a bunch of them, and this is a strange hammer of sorts. You will find many strange artifacts of sorts. This was like this, and you can even see the field damage right there on it. This is prehistoric damage. This is field hit right here. But it was on a very heavy village site. My videographer walked it with me. And all I can say is good luck because you're going to fill up in gallon bags. But I popped him out of the ground. When I got home and washed them, I'm like, oh, man, look at that. This looks to me like a celt, the bit end of a celt. But if you're not sure, you've got books that you can go to and help you out. Conundrum, people, do something with it. Get a second cup of coffee. Invite a couple of your buddies over. Go to McDonald's. Enjoy your burger with Donald Trump. I don't know. But, God, while you can enjoy life, while we still have fields to walk them. Get excited about what you're excited about. Build your library. Even if it's 1 or 2 books a year, even if it's a major investment, and a couple of these are going to be major investments, but the payback will be the hours of pleasure that you get during the winter. You look at that snow and winds and coldness. Believe me, these are comforting. Man, I'm telling you, I love it. I love being with you. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'll get back with you soon. If you got some more ideas, some things you'd like to see us tackle, let us know. Again, I wanted to let you know that you're on 102 right now, Field Archaeology 102. Take the time and flip over to 101, but share that with your friends. Tell them, hey, you need to go visit 102. You need to go visit 101. And by the way, Indiana, their big museum in their state capital puts out some phenomenal YouTube sites. And that would be one that I highly recommend to all of you. They're doing a great job out there. What can I say? All in a day's work. Thank you for hanging in there with me, and I hope to see you real soon. Thanks. Bye, you guys.